Just a Job is the podcast for the modern woman to redefine what success looks like. We highlight real women and their real stories.
Well, welcome back to Just a Job. Well,
hey.
just
a bunch of cowgirls.
You just sound like a true Kansan. Welcome back to Just a Job with Sara and Ellen. It's our weekly one-on-one. And as I was prepping or thinking about this today, I was like, oh, it's been so long. But then also, too, as I just said those words, I feel like I just said them. So we are excited to be back in front of you. Ellen and I, we actually recorded this earlier this week, and just we are learning this whole thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's literally just the two of us talking like we're on a FaceTime together, and then you just get to listen to it. It's very bizarre if you think about it, actually, but
it is.
We were working on the episode earlier this week, and we're like, you know what? I feel like let's just shoot the shit this week. There's a lot that's going on, and I feel like we have a lot to talk about. So, Ellen, what's on your mind first? Where do you want to start?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for the microphone, my beautiful, stunning co-host. Let's talk. I love the whole, it is literally recording a FaceTime session and just sharing it with the world to be like, look how funny we are.
How funny we think we are.
Oh yeah, add think in there. No, I think the episode that we tried to do before, it was just forced. It wasn't us, and so I'm glad that you guys don't get to see it. Haha, too bad, so sad, but perfect. You get to see this one instead. I feel like today we're just gonna shoot the shit, just kind of talk. So we have we can say we have a loose agenda, not much on the agenda, but it'll be packed at the end of this. So update everyone on my job hunting story.
Ooh, yes.
So if you know anyone that is looking for a job, go give them a hug, send them a Starbucks gift card, and give them some extra patience, because it is fucking brutal. And this is not the most I've ever struggled in my life. That's silly to say, but this is just such a grueling process. It is just, it's literally beating your head against the wall every day, doing the same thing. And I was talking to a friend earlier, and I was like, I feel like my self-esteem is just in the toilet. I'm putting myself out there every day, multiple times a day. I'm so great. I'm so great. I'm so great. And no one replies, or I get one rejection. And going on a month, 2 months of doing that, I'm so drained. It's just, it's tough. And it's really hard to keep a positive mindset about it, because it's doing pretty much the same thing every day and getting no results out of it. So my most recent venture with a company that I knew a couple of people at and had a recruiter reach out to me for ended not nicely, I will say. I had gone through 2 rounds. All went well. Both of the people were speaking as if I'd already got the job. I felt very confident in me getting an offer or whatever. Then they requested something called a 30, 60, 90-day plan, which I actually had never heard of before. So as soon as I got the email, I went and looked it up, what the heck is this? And it is everything I found, which is kind of funny, is how the employer, not the employee, the employer creates one to help onboard a new employee, essentially. So they were asking me to create one for myself of how I would attack the role. Thought it was a little strange, but I couldn't get to it right away when they had requested it, because I had some things already planned. So I sit back down, go through it, kind of do my best to put something together, did some more research, had some people look at it, make sure it was legible, understandable. And the morning that I was going to send the report in, I got a message, not a phone call, a direct message that they had decided to hire internally, which sucks. It sucks. I feel like I didn't even get to complete the interview process. There were a couple of other factors during the applying process itself that I was kind of that doesn't really align with you and what you like. For example, as I was doing my research on the company, I'm looking at Glassdoor and stuff like that, but Glassdoor's a little
You
kind of
never know.
wild sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's some weird shit on there. And so I kind of like just took it at face value, whatever. And, I'm going through the company website and there was at least 10 to 15 people on the leadership team. So it's a pretty big size
That's big.
company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was not a single woman. There was one
Red
black
flag.
man. The rest were all white men. They all went to the same university, all got their MBA at the same place, and it was good old boys club screaming at me. And when I first
Mm-hmm.
saw it, I was like, I really don't like that. That's not a company that I would feel like genuinely feel good about working for,
Mm-hmm.
but I need a job. So I was kind of like,
Yeah.
maybe it's something I can overlook. Maybe it's something that when you know, previous thought process, but maybe when I do get on, it's something that I could advocate for and talk to
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
about and,
Yeah. Which you've
maybe
done
start
in
to
the
have
past.
conversations. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe that could be a good opportunity for me. So there's a couple other things, but, you know, it was just that immediate gut feeling of like, this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
And so while it didn't end how I wanted it to, I feel like it's almost a good thing knowing that that's not a place that I would want to be, and how I
Right.
was treated, then, the couple other cultural factors is like, that just does not align with me. So if anything, it was good interview practice. It was good for me to know like what I am willing to and not willing to stand for when it comes to in an interview process or
Mm-hmm.
in really like the values that I look in at a company I work for next. So a learning experience, but just honestly just feels like a waste of time. Like
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
to like to a waste of time for multiple reasons. Waste of time in the sense that like you put in work, but then also too just mental energy.
oh
You're
yeah.
you're throwing,
I
you're
think
throwing,
that's
you're throwing, and then like
yeah.
something finally grabs hold and you have this hope that begins to build. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden somebody makes the decision that you don't get to have that hope anymore. And then it's just
Yeah.
gone. Poof.
Too bad, so sad.
And yeah, you're expected to wake up the next day and carry on as normal. It's like this weird cycle of like the shortest term relationship you've ever had.
Yeah, it's very much like speed dating
Mm-hmm.
and like the whole like doing the physical work, like making the presentation wasn't like my most favorite thing to do, but like whatever. It is like
Right.
it's the emotional thing of like, okay, I'm not good enough. Great, there's
Yeah.
something wrong with me. It's me that's the problem, which
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be in that previous
Yeah.
situation, whatever. But it is that emotional, just like I just feel like I'm putting myself out there all the time. And like I was talking to Tim about this of like even like the past, I would say like probably 2 weeks. I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't even want to like talk to friends or like
Mm-hmm.
make plans to be social because like I feel like all I'm doing is putting myself out there that I
Ooh,
don't
that's yeah.
that I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm done. Like I don't want to feel like I'm on all the time. I want to like sit in my little comfortable bubble, watch some
Mm-hmm.
Gilmore Girls or like, whatever show is on and just kind of like reset. And I feel like it's just this terrible cycle.
Yeah. It's almost this like weird part. It's not even like the stages of grief because I feel like you're out of that. Like as
Yeah.
far as your previous role ending. It's this
Mhm.
like phase of I'm sure it also doesn't help that it's February and like seasonal depression, which I don't even know if that
Right.
occurs in San Diego. But like
Okay. Well, actually, it's been raining for like two
that's
weeks.
true.
It
That's true.
finally was sunny a tiny bit today, but it's cloudy again. So
And maybe
it's a
that's
little
also
bit.
too,
I
yeah,
shouldn't
like
complain though.
your outside like an environment in general
Mhm.
is not really like supporting you. Um
Yeah. It's
that
like
makes sense. I didn't
womp
even think
womp.
about that too, how you're just like you're putting yourself out there and the last thing that you want to go and do is not be around either just yourself or like just people where you don't have to force
Yeah.
anything. You don't have to like play pretend because you're already
Yeah.
doing that all day.
Yeah.
And it's different than when it is like with a full-time job because it's like you play pretend for 8 hours. Clack, clack, clack on
Yeah.
my computer. But
Beep boop,
like,
beep boop.
yeah, but like there's security in that. And
Yeah.
like that's just not something that you have right now. Security or like control,
Yeah.
I guess, too.
Yeah. I'm also a
So,
huge control freak. So this is just like
mhm.
so not my jam. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I told everyone I'd keep them updated, and that's unfortunately my update, but using it as a
Better
learning
days are coming.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next. If anything, like I said, good interviewing practice. Like I hadn't had a legitimate interview in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and just like spending the time to sit down and make sure I had like my core things that I wanted to touch on documented and prepared and practiced was really good. So like the interviewers themselves and speaking to them were also great. So I'm kind of like, like I felt like I
Yeah.
nailed them, and then it was, oh, never
Did
mind.
you get a chance to ask for feedback, or did they provide it? Or do you want
I asked, and it was just, oh, it was already someone internal. So I was like, okay,
That
that's
is a
not
shit
really
excuse. I'm
feedback.
sorry. No, like they chose internal for a reason, not just because they have ties to them already. Like,
Yeah. So I was like,
that's unfair.
okay.
You've put in all this work and then they just get to wipe their hands clean of you. Like the least that they could do is send you off with maybe some morsel of,
I know.
oh, that's why it didn't work out. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Because then it leaves you feeling like it's a total you problem, and that's not the
Oh, yeah.
case. You know, it's
Well,
unfair.
and it is, but like I also, I was trying to think like, okay, like what if an opportunity comes up with this company in the future, something, or with people that I've interacted with during this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how I react to this is going to be important for my relationship with these people if
Mm-hmm.
it continues in any way, shape, or form. So, like the conversations I had were tough, and I was at least like the conversation I had with the recruiter to like, what's going on, how did this all happen, it was definitely uncomfortable and tough, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did it, and I don't think it was like disrespectful or
No, fair,
uncalled
fair
for or
of you.
anything. But I was like, I need to stand up for myself because I don't think that it was right. But also, at the end of the day, like, what am I going to do about it? Cry?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yes.
I can be, well, maybe.
It's okay.
Like, it's too bad. Like, move on to the
Yeah.
next thing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
helping me grow
That's
some
true.
thicker skin, maybe, I guess, too. But I was
Yeah.
trying
Me
to
over here,
really
I'm like,
be.
put him in front of me and I'll show him.
But I was really trying to be like mindful
Subtle.
of how I
Mm-hmm.
handled
Mm-hmm.
it, because I was like,
Yeah, good for you.
how I respond to a situation that doesn't go my way says more about me than like the interview
Absolutely.
process. So I was
Mm-hmm.
really trying to be
Mm-hmm.
mindful of that, and
If anything, be the better, bigger person. I know that
I'm
that
trying.
is
It sucks. It's
so,
not fun.
yeah. You're like, no,
Yeah.
I want to be the one with the last word.
Yeah. So that's not the most exciting thing, but it'll
News
lead
is
me the right
news.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's traction. If anything, it's momentum. You have more experience under your belt, and
Yeah,
whatever heads your way now, you'll be better prepared, or more prepared,
exactly.
rather. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the things that like you and I wanted to talk about today too, is like the craziness of the job market. Like we were saying, our TikTok account, which if you don't follow us on TikTok at Just a Job Podcast TikTok, check us out. We're so cool and funny.
Yeah, guys, I made
Um
another video this week.
no, Sarah, that was so good, and it got over 1,000 views. We need to stop with the
Did it
numbers,
really?
but it was so
Michael came
good.
home and I was like, I made a video. Watch me. And I got embarrassed.
I do. That's so funny. Whenever like I make a
I'm like,
TikTok, I sit Tim down and I'm like, watch.
yeah. You're like, show and tell. Look what I did today.
No, literally, while you were at work, this is what I did today.
We
Oh my
did though.
God.
We made 4 video. I made 1. You made 3, and all were great.
I was going nuts.
Yeah.
But we
Well, if
were
any,
like, go ahead.
good. I was just gonna say it was almost as if these videos were finding us. Like this thing called an algorithm was existing,
It's working.
and all the videos kind of had the same or similar theme. Essentially, it was a
Mhm.
woman in 20s to 30s age range upset about jobs, about relationships, about where you think you should be in life, about the job market, like so many things. I just so wanted to give everyone a hug because
Yes.
we've all
And
been
be like,
there,
it's
right?
okay. Yes.
Right. And not from a place of like, oh, I'm better off than you. It's just like, I get it.
Like I
I
see you. I see you and I
understand and
hear
I see
you.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's just like, well, and I feel like we're the algorithm is algorithming. How's that
Oh,
for a
totally.
word?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's so cool now, like going through and being like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
this is exactly why we're doing this.
Yeah.
And this is why we're talking about these kinds of things. Cause you're right. It's like, I know misery loves company and that's always a bonding experience in any way,
Mm-hmm.
shape, or form. But like the whole, I loved the one, the girl was like, I'm in my 20s, like later 20s, early 30s. Like, what do you do for work? Like, I hate my
Mm-hmm.
job. What do I do? And it's just like, it's like a punch to the gut because like you just know that feeling when you're just like
Yeah.
not happy and you want to make a change but you don't know how. And then with
Mm-hmm.
the financial aspect of it too, like that was a
Yeah.
lot of other videos we saw too of like, well, I need the money, like I have to work,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a job that I hate but I gotta stay because I don't have any other
I
options. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Or the layer that is, I have a job and it's not supporting me enough. And now I have to
yeah,
go and get another job, which, like, that is such a tough place to be in. And I remember seeing one too where a girl was like in her car, and it must have been one of those after work, what is my life? What am I doing?
existential
Like,
crisis.
yeah, this is what I spent 18 years of 22 years of my life looking forward to, crying in my car at 5 p.m. Fuck no.
And being like,
And
oh, I'm so glad I went to school for this and now I
yeah,
hate my life.
yeah. And she was crying in her car and she was like, I think it was one of those like, raise your hand if. And she was just talking about how she goes home from work and she doesn't do anything because she doesn't have the financial means to like go
Hmm.
out. And so then therefore she's not really making meaningful connections because a lot of her friends and people where she lives go out and on the weekends she stays in. And so it's just like, it just makes me feel because that's already such a difficult time to like have that experience, but then to not have an outlet. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's it's one of those things that's double-edged sword. Like I don't want to say feel sorry, but it's like you feel sorry for these people because you're being so vulnerable and they're showing their emotions and they're having these experiences and you can empathize because you've had them yourself. But
Hmm.
then it's also like, how do we help each other? You know, leaves you
Yeah.
feeling a little helpless.
Totally. I think, like, at least for me, when, like, around the time that we met, like, honestly, what helped me the most was finding people that were going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there was, I mean, at the time, I had been out of school for, I don't even remember, a couple of years, maybe like 2 years or something like that. And
Mhm.
so I had already been working, and most of my friends were either at like a corporate job making decent money or like still getting their masters in something.
Mhm.
And it's just like such a weird time because I feel like during that time of your life, you really try and find those friends that are in the same like life phase as you so
Mhm.
that you're in like a similar financial situation. So you know like dinners you can go to or like activities that you can go do. So it's not like this awkward underlying thing in a friendship of like, oh, I'm at
Yeah.
a way different place in my life than you are, or my work schedule is super different than yours. So like we can't hang out, you know?
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I really feel like finding a friend, finding a buddy
No,
in a
totally.
time like that was so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's why our friendship has been so solid because it is such a vulnerable time of your life. There's so much that you're trying to navigate outside of work. New
Yeah.
emotions, new friendships, new life, new scenery, everything. And so to have one person where you're like, this is something that we can really experience together and talk
Yeah.
about. I think that's the important thing is to just like be able to talk about it. Yeah. I don't know. That's just like I feel like a lot of the videos that we've been seeing. So
Hmm.
if it's, heading our way through the algorithm, like we will happily speak about it because if anything,
Yeah.
like these conversations need to be happening more frequently.
Totally. Well, and this is have you seen the girl Sarah from Pareto? She will like video herself
Mm-mm.
doing cold calls
Oh,
and
yes, yes,
show
yes.
like how uncomfortable it is and then give like her best sales tips. I mean, like, she's like in her early maybe
Yes.
middle 20s, so she's like,
Mhm.
take what I say with a grain of salt, but like here's my experience. She made a video. She was on vacation and she was talking about how like obviously like I don't have a sales background and I don't know what it's like making
Mhm.
sure that you have to hit your quota at it's certain time of the month whatever,
Oh,
but
that
she was
pressure.
talking
Blech.
about right and how she was on vacation and she was like I feel like I have to call people, I feel like I have to check my phone, I have to check my emails, and I'm like ugh, that is the worst feeling. Plus we just talked about that on Angel's episode too of having that pressure and that guilt of having to be on and loyal to a company even though they'll be like goodbye, see you later, like
Mhm. Mhm.
you got to take advantage of the PTO while you can because especially if you don't have or if you have unlimited PTO, freaking take it because when you leave, you can't cash it out. Do
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about her. Yeah, there's something about watching her video that like makes me like so anxious. It's just like
I can't
somebody
watch the whole
somebody
thing
please tell her
sometimes.
yes. She needs this. Not needs it, but like we're all needing this win for her.
Like
Like somebody
book the demo call with her so she can meet her quota. Thank you.
sales jobs, man. I mean, power to the people that thrive off of that. I feel like it's an
Totally.
entirely different breed of person. I mean, at the end of the day, like I remember reading a book and it was just like point blank, we're all selling at all times. It just looks
Hmm.
differently. Like
Yeah.
I'm not in sales, but I am as a project manager trying to sell people on work that needs to get done. So it just looks
Hmm.
different. So we're all
Yeah.
trying to basically have somebody do something to our advantage. But a complete sales job, there is no
Mm-mm.
way I'd be able to do it, especially
Also,
if it
too,
required being face to face.
oh my God, ew. I'm getting hot
No,
and sweaty thinking about
I know.
it.
Next subject.
Oh my God.
Next
The funny
topic.
thing too is like with salespeople, like I feel like especially with men, I can tell if you're in sales by having like literally a 2 minute conversation with you. I'm like, you're a sales
Mm.
guy. Like,
You think you're a mind reader?
but you're not. You're not. I know what tactic you're using. When we went to the golf tournament, so
Ugh,
this is
you're really
um
surrounded by it.
oh my God, they were everywhere. I was like, finance bro, Patagonia vest. So we were like walking through the concessions and I think it was like partly sponsored by Hilton or something. And so we're
Mm,
walking by and Tim and I are like walking next to each other. We might have been holding hands. Like we looked like a couple. And this guy
yeah.
comes over and I thought this was a clever one. So if you're in sales, feel free to steal this. But he goes, hey guys, I need it. My boss is right there. And if I don't have a conversation with you guys, I'm gonna get in big trouble. Come over here, have a conversation with me. And I was like,
What?
okay, sure. What conversation are we gonna have? And they were trying to sell something about like couples packages or like timeshares or something through Hilton. But it was so funny. He was like, my boss is right there. I'm gonna get in trouble if I don't book you or if I don't have a conversation. We were like,
You're like,
okay,
that sounds
fine,
like a you
whatever.
problem.
It was so funny. And then at the end, he like says his spiel, says it so fast, and is like doing the whole. He has like that like raspy sales voice is like the only way I can describe it.
Oh, yeah, because
And
he's
he
done a
gets
lot of
through
talking. Hmm.
totally. He gets through, and I'm like, like okay. So he finally gets to the end, and I said, by the way, which one is your boss? And he goes, what? I'm like, oh come on, you got to. If you pull me in on the boss thing, you got to
No.
tell me who the boss is. And then he like pointed at someone random, and I was like, mm-hmm. It's like, bro, come on, you got to like finish the
You're like, oh,
punchline.
you're a chump. That's what you
Yeah,
should have
you're a
said.
chump. That's a good insight. Wow, I haven't used chump in a minute. That's funny.
You're a chump. Oh, Lord.
Also, if you're listening to us, please go connect with both of us on LinkedIn and go follow. This is a promotional
Mhm.
episode, and go follow Just a Job on LinkedIn because we have a page there as well. But I've been trying to like post some more stuff on there because I'm like, building traction. Also, like making myself look active on LinkedIn. So if people
Oh,
go
yeah.
look, like for a
Except
recruiter,
I was going to say, we get messages from people that are like, are you hiring?
yes. I had
Bro.
this one like HR sales rep reach out to me and they were like, how do you handle HR for your employees at your company? Please let me help you with this
Oh my
platform. And
God.
I was like,
Ellen, if
he
we
clearly did
make
not
this
do his
like,
research.
I know. Well, okay, I have a thought. If
Okay.
we make this a legitimate business, mark my words, and we are able to hire people, maternity leave is going to be the number one benefit. But I was just thinking
Number one.
how funny it would be if, because none of the companies that I've worked for have had like a formalized maternity leave. Like, how funny would
Wow.
it be if we created it for ourselves?
Wow, what a
Funny.
full circle moment. I would love
But
that.
yeah, yeah, HR person was in our LinkedIn. So you should be too.
You should be too. Wow, that's that's a
Is
good
that
punchline. I like it.
see sales? I'm selling you.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Speaking of maternity leave, we talked about this on another episode very briefly, but
We should talk about it on
um
every episode.
we should. It's very important. If
We should,
you work at a
yeah.
company that there is not maternity leave, go talk to someone.
Yeah.
I threw a fit, not really,
Mm-hmm.
kind
No,
of,
you
at
did.
my
Well,
previous company.
yeah.
I was
Civilized fit.
in the ear of our chief people officer and the like leader of HR multiple times a week. Hey, what are we going to do about maternity leave? Because the company was mostly women, and
Oh yeah.
I was like, so what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about it? I did like a ton of research on it. And they got maternity leave. So, not saying I'm an expert. I also have never had a baby. So that's kind of a conflict
But
of interest, but
yeah, that's
I'm a
you
woman.
you doing the work for the women, and one day it'll come back to you. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
God
We
bless
need,
you.
I, so yes, I kind of helped. Obviously, I was not the only person. There's lots of people that helped advocate for that, but I was
So
one of them. I was chirping a lot about it. But, we you came over to my apartment when I was living in Kansas City and we sat. Do you remember we tried Celsius for the first time?
yeah,
We
that was
drank half of
a
it and we couldn't
wild
stop
day.
talking. I haven't had a Celsius since then because I literally felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Jesus. Those things are powerful.
Maternity leave.
Yes. And we sat and talked about maternity leave and like, I feel like some other work related things, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
specifically talked about maternity leave for like 2 hours.
yeah. And that's
Very
what
passionate about
I
that.
would say that that's what kickstarted. Well, and the whole conversation
Mm-hmm.
too was kickstarted because you were doing research into how much you should have at the time been getting
Oh,
paid,
yeah.
and in
Mm-hmm.
all of that research, benefits are a factor of your overall package. And you were like, "Wait, what the heck? All the companies of our size in the
Yeah.
health field of all places?"
Literally.
Yeah.
I was doing some research as well because there's multiple facets of like paid parental leave.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously for the mom, if like you have either a vaginal or cesarean birth, there's like two different types of leave that you can have. If you adopt, some companies help support you if you go through IVF. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So there's a lot of different areas that's not just for a mom when she
Yeah.
leaves to give birth. So I found that really interesting. But one thing that they kind of my previous company like released different types of leave kind of in waves. I feel like they kind of like learned as they went and then made
Sure. Yeah.
adjustments where necessary. There's a couple of gay couples that were men and they were like, okay, this is great for women maternity leave, amazing, but like we want to start a family, like I would like to be home with my child when they come.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
built out maternity or paternity leaves for same sex couples as well, which I thought was really cool. But like, I feel
Wow.
like there's
Yeah.
just so many layers that go into like a family and starting your own
Mm-hmm.
family and how like work can support you in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
go ahead.
Did you hear about the kite baby, KYT, kite baby thing?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So their company is like, I've seen people complain about kids' clothes. It's like dinosaurs and like all these silly caricatures and stuff on there. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of parents are looking for just like a plain t-shirt for their kid to wear or like
Oh
just some
yeah. Yeah.
pants, like normal, I'd say clothes, like maybe more
Mm-hmm.
adult, I guess. And so Kite Baby has like more neutral printed or like normal quote clothes and they're super soft. And so they're super successful. I think they're all online and so their company is literally babies, kids' clothes.
Mm-hmm.
One of their employees I think they were, I might screw the story up, but they were either adopted, no, they were adopting a baby. The birthing mom went into early labor, and
Mm-hmm.
the baby had to be in the NICU. And the employee of Kite Baby was like, obvious my child is arriving, like I have to go be in the hospital. I can still work remotely. And they fired her. They fired her. So
On
she,
what grounds?
so then they like try to release all of these, like, oh, we're so sorry, blah blah blah, but like your company is literally for new
Mm.
families, for babies, and you're not going to support your own employee when their adopted child, their baby is in the NICU and
Oh my
still
God.
wants to work remotely. Isn't that nuts?
I hope there's some layer to this story that we're missing, because if that is the story, point
Mhm.
blank, there's no fucking hope. There's no
Isn't that
hope.
insane?
No hope at all. And like, Ellen, we
Mm-mm.
could probably do a 4 hour um podcast interview on this, and let it be known we're not mothers, so like
Yeah,
our
no.
experience
I
is
also
coming.
might have gotten that story slightly wrong, so sorry if I missed an important tidbit.
We'll edit it out if it's not correct, but but I think the moral of this is like, it's so unfortunate that the relationship that you have to have with your company is that.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, we're 28, we're 29. And I remember at 24 and 25 thinking, like, okay, if I'm going to work at a company, it needs to have maternity leave. Like, God
Yeah.
forbid I get pregnant unexpectedly, or if I really love my job and I want to stay there for years, or if the benefit exists, but you can't have it until you've worked for the company for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Some places it's a few years. If I'm
Mhm.
24, 25, and I have to wait a few years, like that puts me at the age that I'm at now. And
Yeah.
it's so sad that you have to be so forward thinking. It's like, no, I just need a job. Like, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
put food on the table. I don't want to have to think about this. And this
Yeah.
is a whole issue outside of like just workplace. It's a whole the structure of the American system.
I know. It like
I
really makes my blood boil. Like
know,
in
but
even now, like you said, like in my job search, I am looking and doing
mm-hmm,
my research on
mm-hmm,
companies I'm applying to, especially if it's something that's really interesting to, like the role itself is really interesting to me. I'm looking on Glassdoor and wherever I can to find what their benefits are like, because if there isn't maternity leave, I'm not interested in working there. By the way,
yeah,
Qualcomm, I know this will obviously reach the ears of the president and CEO of Qualcomm
totally.
Enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work there for 2 years in order to have maternity leave,
You
according to
have
the
to give
research
up.
that I
Yeah,
found.
not give up. You have to put in 2 years of your life to earn this.
Isn't that insane?
That is
This
so
makes me
sad.
mad.
I know.
This
Should we
makes
should
me
we
angry.
should we cut the topic short?
Yeah. And it's like I don't even know what to do about it. I guess I kind of like I advocated enough so that my company did something about it, which makes me feel good, but
Mm-hmm.
it feels like I
I
didn't get
I
to take
well, if
advantage of it, which kind of feels funny.
I know, yeah, but like if anything, people can take a note out of your book. And sorry, but not that I'm not calling you annoying, but be annoying.
Be
Be
annoying.
annoying about
It
these
pays
things,
off.
because yeah, like if you reap the reward or not, somebody behind you will.
Yeah, totally.
So be annoying. This is like one of those things that really shouldn't have to be a fight, but unfortunately it is.
Yeah.
Um And if you're in the seat of power and have the choice and happen to stumble upon our silly little podcast,
Hello.
please do everybody a favor and have maternity and paternity leave, please and thank you.
It's like a human right, I feel like at this point. Jesus,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Okay, deep breaths. Temperature check. You doing okay over there?
Yeah, my ears are getting a little hot, which usually means I'm aggravated.
Oh my god.
um,
Sarah, tell me about what's happening in your world. What is Oh my god, Siri just went off on my phone. I'm sorry that
that
happens
happens
to
to
you.
me all the time. Um, I feel like I'm like coasting. I think things are going
Good.
well. I have my good and my bad days, as Ellen knows. She sometimes experienced the brunt of my bad days. Um,
It's okay. Everyone
I
is
know it
allowed to
is,
have a
but
bad day.
it's not fair to you, but that's
I think
yeah,
it's funny. It's okay.
apologies.
None of it has legitimately hurt my feelings, so it's okay.
Okay, good. Tell me. I told Ellen, I was like, straight up, just tell me if I'm being a brat. Um, please.
Not right now.
That's what a good friend does. But yeah, things are going well. I think that like at someday there's some part of me that's just like waiting for the shoe to drop.
Mm.
The shoe to drop, the ball to drop. I don't know what the saying is, but I'm just like waiting for
You're like,
something to happen. But I feel like actively engaged in the work that I'm doing. And
good.
Allison, if you're listening, I'm just like so excited. We're working through, it's a very small team, and so we're working through goal setting, and the company is at this like precipice of this big change or focus essentially. And it's just I feel very honored to be a part of it in any capacity. Um I'm just really loving it. I think that at the end of the day, what I needed, like if I could sit 22-year-old down and be like, okay, you don't need to start a company, but you need to find something that allows you to be in control and gives you flexibility. That's really what it
Hmm.
came down to. I didn't
It
want to
sounds like
like,
a very welcoming and like inspiring workplace and a place that you
oh
want to
my
be
gosh.
at. And
Yeah.
that like gives you, like, fills your cup as you're there. Like, not only are you
Yes.
there working and being fulfilled that way, but you're around people who are of like mind and are
Hmm.
supporting you along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's the perfect example of like loving the work that you're doing and loving the people that you get to do the work with. And
Totally.
that I don't think I've ever fully had that.
Oh,
Um so it's been a cool experience. And like I think that's why when I watch these videos, I just want to be like, it gets better. It like
yeah.
to some it, I'm not leading a perfect life. Like I have my bad days, but um things are going well. So
Good.
I'm enjoying it, but thanks for asking. Things are good.
Of course. Good.
I just
Well,
need, I just need to figure out my office situation because now I'm in the second bedroom. Now I'm like,
oh my God. I know. It's like every time we do this, it's like, here, surprise, here's my guest room bed, everyone. Oh my God. And it's so ugly. Like, I want to reupholster it, and I have a fabric that I'm like very excited to do. I just need to do it.
weekend project.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll start an upholstery business. I,
Mm. See, that's the thing. Ooh, okay. I thought of this the other day. So
hmm.
up next, the company I work for in Boston, they hosted a panel on Monday that was with five
was that
founders
was
of
that their
companies.
Instagram live?
Mm-hmm. It well, they had some Instagram posts, but it was a little bit different. Oh no, my
Okay.
computer. We're gonna have to wrap this up real quick because I got low battery.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
uh,
Talk
they did a
quickly.
panel, and this one of the founders was talking about this was his sixth company that he started, and I was like, that is a
Whoa.
damn badge of honor. It's a badge of honor.
Wow.
So if you're listening to this
That's
podcast,
persistence.
yes, never let anything keep you from keeping on. Sarah
Keep on
Soph.
keeping on. I should frame that and put it above this bed since I have such a large wall up here. Then when you guys come visit, you have inspirational quotes above your head at
Yeah,
night.
that's perfect.
Oh
Well, Ellen, I am excited to see what's on the horizon for you. I feel like I'm proud of the way that you have handled this. Um,
thank you.
you've done a very
It
good
doesn't
job of keeping your head held high.
it doesn't really feel like that, but thank you for saying that.
No, it should. It should feel that way 100%.
It's like, ugh, I'll get through it. But honestly, like, talking about it helps. And if anyone else
Mm-hmm.
is going through this, like, I feel ya. So it's okay. It will work out. Something good's gonna
Some
happen.
things, yes, yes. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. This was a rambly one, but
It was
obviously,
fun.
again, it's like listening to a FaceTime. It just feels like us.
Yeah. I
So
hope it feels like
thanks.
you're hanging out with your friends. Like, that's the goal,
Yeah,
right?
we
Mhm.
are your friends,
We are.
truly. And follow us on TikTok. Dang it.
Oh, and we got a couple more 5-star reviews. Thanks, guys. Keep going. Keep going.
Share the word. I had this idea to, or not idea, but I had this thought today where I was like, that would be really cool if this podcast was the topic of somebody's conversation. Like, oh, I have this friend that has a
I
podcast.
would
Like
cry.
maybe this, I know. What an inspiration and
Oh,
heartwarming thought that I had. So I hope that
Love
this
it.
podcast resonates with you. And again, I hope that wherever you're listening, you feel like you're sitting with us. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good week. And remember, it's just a job. See ya.
Bye.